That was actually on when I was at Penn State, and we would have Jersey Shore viewing parties. Oh, favorite spot. Do you know anything about Canada? Like, Edmonton's not the easiest place to get to.
Well, people are looking for outdoor hockey to come to Beaver Stadium. NHL, get on it.
Shows that we're watching, like in the hotel, like what is...
It's the only reason I'm able to do what I do.
Unstructured podcast, new week, new stories to tell. I'm here in California. We got Ethan Zaretsky, and we got an absolute special guest. Covers hockey for ESPN, reports on it, does all of it, and she's a Penn State grad. How about it? Emily Kaplan, how are we feeling today?
I love that we are. That's perfect. I'm honestly energized by your energy right now. It's amazing. I'm pumped for this and excited to chat with you guys.
We do it differently than all the podcasts on the market right now. Completely unstructured, unfiltered. We talk about absolutely everything. Emily, thank you for taking the time to be on the Unstructured podcast. Starting things off real fast. If you don't know who Emily Kaplan is, you're probably living under Patrick Starr's rock. Like Juwan said, a reporter for ESPN, does so much great work everywhere. If you want to see her work, go check out the comments. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff for the podcast. Emily, is there anything you want to talk about straight off rip? I'll leave the floor to you, something we don't normally do.
Firstly, I love that SpongeBob references still hit. That gives me hope for this next generation. No, I actually would love just to know about your both Penn State experiences, because I went there. I graduated in 2013. It was a super interesting time. There was obviously the Sandusky scandal going on. I had amazing experiences at Penn State, though, and it completely set me up for the path that I'm on today. And I owe so much of my career to Penn State. So I would just love to know what vibes are like in Happy Valley right now.
Oh, geez.
You want to go first?
No, go ahead, Juwan. You're
I mean, just graduating, obviously feel like I'm there every weekend. Under $20 tickets against Bowling Green. That was a little scary. But obviously, Happy Valley, it's been great. And I had a great 4 years there. And I think ultimately, like Penn State, to your point, it sets a foundation. It's a matter of you using those resources, going and putting yourself out there. And I think I did a good job of that. And now it's been able to help me in my career interests kind of within sports and entertainment. So couldn't ask for more. And I mean, me and Ethan met this last year, and 42 weeks later, we haven't missed a week of filming, so ready to go.
I love that.
And Penn State's definitely changed a lot since 2013. I've been going there like my whole life. My dad went there, so he's brought me there. It has grown tremendously. New additions to the football stadium, so you just got to love to see that. But Emily, first question, we'll go with this. What is your favorite spot in Happy Valley?
Oh, great question. Favorite spot.
See, really unstructured.
This could be to eat, to hang out with friends. Like, what's your thing?
I really miss cafe. I miss the patio of cafe. And like, terrible form maybe just to bring up a bar as my first spot, because like I have so many great memories of like places I studied on campus. The library is amazing. I think that a lot of the classrooms that I've been in have hopefully been revamped and look incredible right now. But I love to hear if cafe is still where people go and sit out and drink the teas. And okay, great. This gives me cover, because the last time I was there, you're right, like downtown changed. There was a Target, there's high rises. I'm like, this is not my Penn State experience. So glad people are still getting after like $5 teas.
Especially the first couple of weeks when it's really nice out before the cold weather. Yeah,
exactly.
100%. Emily, obviously, like we mentioned to start this podcast, you're a reporter for ESPN helping with NHL stuff. You're obviously on the road a lot. Let me ask you, what is the one like craziest or like just like very like you remember experience off the air in a city, whether that was like a traveling scare? Like talk to me about that and what that looked like.
So like craziest, scariest?
Yeah, like it'd be like crazy. So it's just like you remember it. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
I mean, this past Stanley Cup final was unreal because it was firstly a historic series, right? The Florida Panthers go up 3-0. Then the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid are like not so fast, stage this insane comeback to make it a Game 7. And then the Panthers ultimately win. But the travel was ridiculous because you're going from South Florida all the way to Edmonton. Do you know anything about Canada? Like Edmonton's not the easiest place to get to. There's not even direct flights. I live in Chicago, and like what I love about here is that you can get a direct flight anywhere. And that was even a problem. So I feel super blessed, ESPN, because we were putting on the games, because they knew how difficult the travel was going to be. They arranged it with the NHL that we could have a private charter to go back and forth between games.
No way.
So that was a huge, like, just to ensure that we all got there, right? And without any mishaps. And I was lucky enough to have a beautiful seat next to PK Subban on all of those rides. So a crazy experience was just listening to PK Subban talk for all of those plane rides, because I don't understand how that guy has the energy that he has. Juwan, maybe you're the only one that I've been able to meet that can match it. But like he would go out. I remember once we were in South Florida and he like went partying with the Celtics, hung out with like the trophy, and like the next morning he's just buzzing on like 2 hours of sleep. What is wrong with you? But so that was a pretty crazy one.
He lives for those moments like that. Subban, I've always remembered him to be like the craziest, energetic guy, and sitting on a plane with him for that long has got to be nuts.
Yeah, I slept for a lot of it. I'm an elite plane sleeper, so sometimes I was like, PK, I get it. Like this is sleeping time.
So number one thing that you're looking forward to when you're going on a plane is sleeping.
100%. It's the only reason I'm able to do what I do, is being able to pass the F out on planes. Typically a window is preferred. I could do it in a middle seat. I can do it in the aisle. It's my gift.
That's a talent. That's a serious talent.
Thank you. I don't know if I worked at it though. I think I could fall asleep.
How do you sleep on planes? Like I said, I'm in San Diego right now, and I had a 5-hour flight, and I felt like I had to watch like Dunkirk 2 times around, and like I just to like stay up. So I don't know how you do it. Now, Emily, you mentioned you lived in Chicago. Obviously, one of the most famous places for pizza. So not to ask a cookie cutter question, but I want to hear from your perspective, someone that's a local, top 2, not 3, top 2 pizza places, specifically deep dish.
Oh, so I grew up in New Jersey and I lived in New York. So I've got like East Coast bias, hardcore when it comes to za. I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to pizza in Chicago. Deep dish is what you have on like a Sunday, and then you want the itis, and then you don't feel really great after you eat it because it's not really a pizza. It's like a quiche. And then you fall asleep and your stomach turns the next day and you're like, why did I do that? But it was still amazing. Like you do it in the middle of the winter. It's super cozy and great. But like when I'm looking for pizza, like just like a Friday night or like, oh, Saturday we're watching a game, let's just order pizza. We get tavern style here, which is super thin crust. They cut it in like, I don't know, like 10 times this way, 10 times that. So you'd have these like tiny little square or triangular pieces. And that's amazing. If I do want deep dish though, and there are situations where you do crave it because it is a Chicago delicacy, it's usually only in the winter, like only again on like a super cozy night. Pequod's is the spot. There's no number 2. It's Pequod's. If you know, you know. It's in Lincoln Park. It's kind of a divey, red checkered tablecloth. You post up at the bar or like a nice table. You have a beer. There's always a wait. It's always worth it. What they do differently is that they put the cheese in the cast iron and then it caramelizes on the crust, and it's very, very good.
Saratsky, book your flight now.
I already have a trip booked because the NHL is doing something really, really special in Chicago. Can tie this whole thing together. Not only is the Winter Classic going to be in Chicago this year, not only is Penn State ice hockey going to be playing in Chicago this year, but the first NHL game back from the Winter Classic is Rangers Blackhawks. What a treat. What an absolute treat. What is that going to be? Are you going to be covering those games? What's that weekend going to be like for you, Emily?
So I only have my schedule through January 1st. Unfortunately, the Winter Classic, and fortunately, because they do a great job doing it, but that's a Turner property. So they do that every year. So I won't be a part of that. I do know I have a Blackhawks game December 29th at home. That's going to be on ESPN. I want to say it's like a good game too, like maybe against the Predators or the Stars. And then I think that following game, if it's a Saturday, I think that might be our first ABC Saturday. So I only have my schedule through January 1st, but I think I'll be there at that one. Fingers crossed. ESPN this year, we always have the outdoor game. And again, kind of pains me to say as a Penn Stater. That said, I'm super curious and pumped for it. Our outdoor game, the Stadium Series, is at the Horseshoe in Ohio and Columbus. And though we're trained to hate that place, I think it'll be an absolutely amazing hockey venue. So I'm excited to cover that.
Definitely. People are looking for outdoor hockey to come to Beaver Stadium. NHL, get on it, because people want to see Penguins Flyers.
I know.
Call Pagula.
Yeah, call Pagula, literally.
Don't worry, direct line to Terry. All good. Just kidding. The thing about it, and I've heard so many different reasons of why they haven't been able to stage it yet. Someone said it was something about the hotel availability, which is crazy to me.
I'm really not surprised.
100,000 every week in there.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're able to put on, football games here, there, and whatever. Maybe it's the 5-star hotels that the players stay in because that's what's stipulated in their CBA. Maybe there's some other infrastructure. I know like they've been trying to have it at the Horseshoe forever and they had to fix the plumbing. Like that was one of the big holdups of why they had to wait so long to put it there. So maybe there's a back end thing now with the renovations of Beaver Stadium. But I know that people in Happy Valley would show out for that, and Penguins Flyers just makes too much sense. Maybe Sabres, though, because of the Bagulas.
Yeah, Pagula.
Maybe Sabres. Emily, we're talking a lot about broadcast, and we're talking a lot about reporting and all things media. What is 2 or 3 hobbies that people wouldn't know that you do have?
Hobbies that people wouldn't know that I have, besides plane sleeping, which I feel like is my number one. What do I like to do? I think I travel so much for work, and it's amazing that I get to travel. But so often people on the road, we just go and we either order room service or go to the local steakhouse or Irish bar that's like just like right next to the hotel and then go to bed. And something I always make a point to is either trying to find something local to that city. So I love art museums. That's one of my go-tos on the road. I've been to so many art museums in NHL cities everywhere. And I think that is something that could surprise people. I'm a huge art fan, art history. So I like to do that. And then what else do I like to do?
Like favorite TV, like shows that we're watching, like in the hotel, like what is, maybe is there a favorite dish that you make yourself, chefing it up in the kitchen?
I'm quite a good chef. I think I would surprise some people. I'm marinating some chicken thighs as we speak. That's usually my go-to. And when I'm in doubt, make some chicken thighs. Show, this is going to be so cliche because I'm from New Jersey, but like anytime I'm just like, what do I watch? What do I watch? I put on The Sopranos.
Okay. I was expecting the Jersey Shore, but that's also a really good one.
A different Jersey experience than I had, but that was actually on when I was at Penn State, and we would have Jersey Shore viewing parties Thursday nights. Wow. I remember that was our pregame before we went out.
Wow. I would have never expected that at Penn State. Well, we got to know, what's the best art museum in an NHL city? What's your favorite?
Good question. Honestly, one that surprised me a lot is in Raleigh. They have this outdoor sculpture garden that's amazing. I think it's the North Carolina Art Museum. But that was really cool, being able to walk outside and like just big fields and interact with art outside. Like, not a huge sculpture person. My mom was a sculptor like in high school, so I went with her and she really liked that. And Philly's got a really good art museum, and obviously New York's got a couple good ones too.
Yeah.
Gotta love Philly. I'm Philly, everything. Obviously, we're working on the orange and black right now, but let me ask you.
Wait, sorry, Detroit actually. The Detroit one has a stolen Van Gogh. There's like a Van Gogh that's like famously stolen. I don't know if it's still there, but that was the coolest one that I saw last year. All right, go on.
No, that was perfect. I was just about to say stolen Van Gogh. No, I'm not encouraging this, but anybody out there that sees it, please send me a picture and let me know in the comments where it is specifically in the museum. Emily, obviously a lot of people I look up to you, rightfully so, for what you do. So what is your advice for any individual that wants to get into reporting, right, and have that opportunity to, tell their story and have that storytelling kind of on there?
Yeah. I always go back. Dave Anderson was this legendary New York Times columnist, and his mantra was be a respectful pest. And I think about that all of the time. Being a reporter inherently is being annoying, right? You're trying to get information out of people that don't want to give that information. So that's the pest aspect. But I think the thing that you need to know, and this is advice for either when you're trying to get a job or when you have a job, it's all about relationships and how you interact with people. It's all about forming those connections. And so that's the area of being respectful, having empathy for other people, asking questions of them. How are they doing? Rather than just saying like, me, I need this, I demand this, I want this. So be a respectful pest is probably the best advice I've ever heard, and something I try to live by every day.
Love that. And if you haven't seen any of Emily's work, like I said, you're either living under a rock or have not turned into ESPN, but you really got to go check out her stuff. All the reporting that she does on ESPN's coverage of NHL, it's been great ever since they got the new contract. Emily, we have this thing called the Golden Question here at the Unstructured Podcast. And the Golden Question for you today is, what is the word of the day and why?
Ooh, the word of the day. When I was growing up, I don't know why this just came to mind, but so I'm one of 3 kids. My parents always wanted 3 kids. They just didn't know they'd have 3 kids. So my sister is 2 years older than me. And then our little sister is 8 years younger than me, 10 years younger than my sister. So like there's a huge gap. I love her. She's the best. And she keeps me up. Shout out to Eva. So when she was little, she always used the word stellar, and we always made fun of her. So like, not everything is stellar, but stellar is an underused word. It just evokes such like a nice imagery for me. Like I always think of space or something just spectacular. So today's word is stellar.
Stella, what's your word of the day, Ethan?
My word, I wasn't expecting that. Usually just throw it on me.
It's hard.
My word of the day is
This is when the Jeopardy music comes
I'm
in.
gonna look at my Snapple cap and see what it says.
I haven't had a Snapple cap.
Let's see. Combs. About 90% of all. Oh, I don't even know what that says. We'll go with garlic. Today's word of the day is garlic because if you eat a lot of garlic, you'll scare a couple of vampires away. But if you have too much yourself, you might need to brush your teeth a couple times. That was the most random word of the day I've ever given. No context at all. It's not going to help you. But, maybe have some garlic today. Maybe have some garlic.
Garlic in my chicken that's in the fridge right now.
Exactly.
Literally meal prep, send it, make it happen. My word of the day is going to be tempo because in life, I think you got to move at a good tempo. That doesn't mean always pace. That just means you have to know what your vision is and your goals because if you don't, you're just wandering and living to die. That's my opinion. Emily, is there any last things, shout outs? The floor is yours. We want to give it to you here on the Unstructured Podcast to say anything you want.
No, I mean, a word that I often use, I think it's definitely a word of many days is gratitude. Just reminding yourself what you're grateful for. So I'm grateful that you guys asked me to be on. I honestly do feel like the second we popped on here and I saw your energy, I was just like, okay, this is going to change my day. This is going to change my tempo or my vibe, aura, as you kids might say. So I am grateful for this, whatever we had, a couple minutes here, 15.
15, that's how we do it, quick and easy, right? We don't need to talk for an hour. We can make it boom, 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 chop, chop, and then we move on with our day because
Chopping
guess
it like
what?
garlic.
Yep, exactly.
Chopping it like garlic. From the Unstructured Podcast, Juwan Fart, Ethan Zareski, we out.